Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. You are in the right place in today's episode for the inside look at how we create more excellence, ease, earnings, and enjoyment in your work and life together. In case you missed it, my last two podcast episodes covered the first 4 pillars of my signature system, centered on more enjoyment and more ease through how you lead yourself. Now, we are turning outward to how you lead others. This podcast is all about peak performance and peak satisfaction in your business career. So let's talk business. The first pillar in increasing the excellence in your work is pillar number 5, business leadership. Here we broaden from your subject matter expertise to supplement your business acumen with leadership skills. I have had the pleasure of coaching a host of leaders these past 4 years. Some reflect on wanting to build their business acumen. They may consider going back to business school. At this point in your career, it may not be the MBA that you need. In fact, you can get a mini MBA in our work together. I help you broaden from your original subject matter expertise and in-depth knowledge to round out your business sense and context for what you do from every dimension of business. What we find again and again is that at this level, it's not a specific skill such as finance, operations, or marketing that's missing from the equation. What's left now as a successful business professional is mastery of leadership. For the business, it starts by setting a clear and compelling strategy for your function. What is the vision and mission? And what strategy will allow us to carry it out successfully? In the busyness of the day-to-day at the office, leading the business can paradoxically slip to the bottom of our to-do list. We are drowning in emails, requests, and meetings. It takes a concerted effort to pause from the rush to truly contemplate and intentionally set a strategy, to communicate it effectively, get buy-in, and create energy around it. A quick follow-on is creating meaningful objectives for your group. Objectives and key results is the most common approach taken across the companies from which my clients hail. What are we looking to achieve, and how will we measure success? Your company and broader organization may have OKRs, but unless you have carefully crafted your own that resonate with your team, there is work to do here. The missing ingredient of most OKRs is the why. What is the big reason why that will inspire your team to strive for a greater purpose that is significant and will make them work to contribute their best? Next, quarterly business reviews and annual planning cycles can turn into bureaucratic food fights for resources and a check-the-box exercise that one just looks to survive. Together, we find the opportunities in these cyclical activities for your business to leverage them to advance your business goals. Phoning it in or sitting in the peanut gallery will not create the excellence that you innately aim for. Then there are the individual habits to adopt that start with you leading by example and become principles for how your business is run. Critically evaluate what the most impactful strategic work is and prioritize it aggressively. This is how you make every day count for yourself and in your business. The lull of business as usual is real, so counteract it by maniacally finding what will move the needle on your business in a meaningful way and make that the top priority. Many businesses have aggressive targets set in revenue generation or expense savings or both. Get in the driver's seat on input to targets and creative ways to hit or exceed them. Sometimes this is not just being a taker of terms, but pushing back and firmly when goals are nonsensical or to clarify the risk involved. Target setting requires bold leadership and not just reacting, but driving said targets in a way that helps the business rather than distracting or diluting. Prioritization decisions and setting non-negotiables can be challenging for the strongest leaders. The origination of the word priority was initially that it only existed in the singular, one priority. The plural of priorities was an oxymoron given its meaning. The tendency in business these days are a dozen priorities, and often hundreds. As leaders, we are responsible for making the tough decisions, for using the imperfect information that we have to make the best decision that we can. Alternatively, if we succumb to making everything a priority, then nothing is a priority, and our business results will be mediocre at best. The tyranny of the urgent has led to many leaders' demise. Use data-driven arguments and intuition to appeal to stakeholders for prioritization and set your business up for success. In that process, when done right, there will of course also be deprioritization. This includes saying no and resisting the urge to people please by saying yes to whoever is lobbying for work to be done or done a certain way. Remember that with every no, we are freeing up time for what's more important. This is the work. Nothing has gone wrong. In a game of infinite demand, there must be no's. As leaders, it doesn't always feel easy or popular, but the results that come from a disciplined and intentional business are always welcomed and celebrated. I help you build the skill of protecting deep work and the most impactful, but sometimes less clear, activities. These are the ones that are easiest for us as individuals and for us as organizations to procrastinate on or fall into a rut of creative avoidance. We decide to busy ourselves with more straightforward tasks that seem simpler to complete for the quick dopamine hit of checking a task off of our to-do list, while avoiding the more ambiguous and necessary task just to avoid the discomfort. A common example is knowing strategic leadership is where our time is best spent, but feeling overwhelmed with not even knowing where to begin. I share some easy ways to start when it feels like a blank piece of paper is in front of you. Together, we develop your approach and get started on your strategic priorities. One task to use this high concentration, deep work time is for vision casting for your business and your career. When we were kids, our imagination, it was so encouraged to use it, and that natural part of our creativity would blossom. These days, it can feel beat out of us by attending stand-up meetings and information sharing sessions, writing status reports, and preparing endless decks. Vision casting invites you to set a bold, audacious future for your business that is the umbrella for the vision you have for your career. Everything we do in leading our business is good for customers, teams, and our leaders, but for us too. When we win as a business, we win as individuals. So everything we do is aligned and centered on improvement. It's in our best interest as well as our stakeholders. Welcome your own genius to come to the top of your mind, your ability to innovate and show thought leadership. And anytime your gut reaction is, I have no idea, ask yourself, if I did know, what would it be? Don't shift from this task without coming up with your top 3 theories first. We don't generally give ourselves credit for being clever or being clever on certain things or in certain situations. Just ask my kids. I don't let them get away with, I don't know. I have no idea. Try it on yourself and you may surprise yourself with what comes to mind next. Lastly, in this pillar on business leadership is driving change, recognizing opportunities, even in crisis, whether that's in businesses experiencing hyper-growth or maturity. Any crisis can be used as an opportunity. What change do you propose? Why? What are the risks and the benefits? I help clients propose reorganization of the business, new products, closing of business lines, outsourcing, buy versus build analyses. These are just a natural byproduct of truly using your seat and sharing your unique view. I say using your seat because any professional role is a seat we rent for a time. It's not given to us permanently, and it's not bestowed. It is earned every day by making the most of that seat for the time that it is yours. There's a reason you are in this position right now, and there are insights and experiences that you bring which are unique to you. If you don't give them the light of day by proposing changes where you believe it is best for the business, you won't feel fulfilled in your work. You will be bored, and the business will suffer without your ideas. Now that we have bolstered the substance of your work as a leader of your business, let's turn to the leadership of your people. Excellence in your work through people management means actively performance managing underperforming talent up or out, while improving engagement and results of the rest of the team. Leading functions that you haven't performed firsthand yourself. This comes up a lot, and it can be a hurdle, especially for newer managers. You may have been good at your craft as an independent contributor and subject matter expert, and then you are asked to manage people doing that same function. But as we advance, we may be asked to lead groups performing functions that we have never done ourselves before. We can feel like an imposter, wondering, how are we supposed to lead people without being able to show them how to do their job from firsthand knowledge? I always remind my clients that CEOs don't feel strange leading a company of people, most of which do functions they have not personally done. This is leadership. Then, delegation to our team members and building their ability to work independently. That can feel foreign, but it also holds the key to scaling our impact. I help you find the reasons why you are not delegating effectively and techniques to embrace it and empower your team. This often includes raising the bar on expectations for your team. Sometimes we think that doing so is moving the goalposts, and it's unfair to shift expectations on someone in the role. The fact is that business is always evolving, and the idea of doing more with less, it isn't going away. With technology exploding before our eyes, we should always be raising the bar on our teams and ourselves to work smarter and more effectively. Not doing so would be denying your team the opportunity to grow and stretch themselves. Then comes the step of holding team members accountable. I help managers find the balance between trusting but verifying. Putting systems in place that ensure the manager is pushed the information they need to oversee the quality of work being done keeps that manager out of micromanaging or chasing the team to produce. Delivering constructive feedback to all team members is how we help them grow. If you have ever had a manager tell you to just keep doing what you're doing, you know what it's like to not get the feedback you need to learn and improve. Every single person has areas to work on, but will only have the chance to improve if someone gives them the candid feedback. I help you find it and provide it in a way that doesn't have you dreading the conversation or have your team recoiling. Now that you have delivered the constructive feedback, it's time to coach your team through their professional development. It's important here not to spoon feed or step in to save them when they are stretching themselves or trying a broader scope of role. You are the guide on the side, helping them learn to do it themselves. If you swoop in with all the answers, all they will learn is dependence on you. I help you role play and give them the right level of support that keeps both of you operating at your best. There are the cyclical activities that come with managing a team that can be opportunities oftentimes missed. Employee opinion surveys is one. Someone else writes a survey of your team and you get an anonymized set of data from it. Analyzing this data for actual insights and then deciding what action to take as a result to improve engagement and effectiveness of your team can be an art. This is a check-the-box exercise that can become so much more. Next is assigning performance ratings. Chances are you might be forced into a bell curve when deciding how your team has performed over a time period. This is a source of much angst and ado for most managers. It can be tempting to rotate who takes the bottom spot, or to give a mixed rating and say you were forced to because someone had to take it. Don't do this. There is no quicker way to demoralize your team and disempower yourself than farming out ownership of ratings to someone else. As leaders, it's our responsibility to distinguish performance, even amongst a team who may all appear as strong performers. It can feel uncomfortable, sure, but that's part of the job. There is a way to do this where you still all feel on the same side, where this exercise inspires the team to be their best, and where you stop people-pleasing and make the tough decisions while still treating your people with dignity and respect. With select performance ratings comes performance improvement plans. There are a lot of strong emotions that accompany this process. Maybe in your organization, a PIP means facing a certain doom. Maybe administering one becomes a full-time job for the manager. Maybe you have managed someone through a PIP who just towed the line enough to stay on, but none of the improvements were sustained. I have seen it all, and I show you the most effective way to do this that sets you and your team member up for success, whether that's continuing in role or not. Then there comes deciding when to terminate a team member. This is a key responsibility for any manager. I've heard it described as losing a team member, almost as if they passed away, or like removing the right from that person to earn a living. I help leaders shift their perspective on termination decisions so they can see clearly what is best for the business, the team, the individual team member, and them as manager. There is a way to objectively make this decision and to handle the situation with grace and care. As much as we might like to avoid this part of the job, it's critical to master. This also includes navigating termination communications, how to prepare for and execute on letting a team member go in the most constructive way possible. I help formulate talking points and role play to avoid missteps that could introduce liability to you and to your business. Shifting now to your team members who are thriving, there is a careful decision to be made on when to promote them. Sometimes promotion is seen like giving out a trophy. The sooner the better, because it feels like a win for your team member, and we assume that will further energize them in their role or retain them. Not so. Promoting at the wrong time, both prematurely and long overdue, are both suboptimal. When managing your high potential, high performers, it can be easy to promote early. If the team member isn't ready yet, they are actually at risk, now being evaluated against the expectations of that different corporate title. This obviously doesn't feel great for the individual, and it places pressure on you as their manager, as they are observed, and this becomes clear to other stakeholders. Alternatively, some organizations tend to withhold promotion as long as the individual seems content. This can also create sourness when the inevitable realization comes that they have been slow-tracked. I show you how to make the critical decision of when a team member should be considered for promotion, even with pressure from them, strong opinions from your boss, their peers advancing, and limited slots for promotion. Then, once you have decided your view on their promotion, and it's time, there is the matter of successfully getting your team member promoted. Navigating unclear or complex processes to advance your candidate for promotion can be a science. Having promoted many team members and led promotion processes myself for different organizations, I share my battle-tested strategies for assuring the success of your candidate in the promotion process. This is another gauge on your ability as a manager to recognize and reward your people, an important motivator to retain and inspire your best performers. For the team as a whole, you may lead offsites that can serve as a headache for all involved, or truly inspire cohesion and increased excellence in your team. I help leaders establish clear objectives for any team gathering, reverse engineering the results they want to accomplish. Offsites can be a costly investment of time and resources, but done right can have a high ROI to show for that investment. Our teams are waiting for us to lead. Time together in this digital age can be just the boost to rally and align your team. Lastly, as leaders, every day is another chance to re-recruit our teams. I always describe work as an active choice to show up daily. Every day, our survival brains are offering up the norms of work being seen as drudgery and obligation. We can help our teams work differently and proactively choose their role with us again and again, day after day. Together, we craft the messaging to establish purpose and drive for your team, tailored to what motivates each unique individual. We practice delivery of this messaging and integrate it into your leadership identity and philosophy, weaving this into how you work, lead meetings, and write communications. How we present as a leader can serve to re-engage our team in the mission at every step, or let their drive languish. These pillars of leading business and your teams are crucial for every leader. So often we might think the business itself is at a juncture where it feels like an insurmountable task, or we might lament that we were never properly trained to manage people, or how work would be easier without the people. It's a common outlook. But for that excellence that we seek in our performance and satisfaction, we don't shy away from this leadership. Business is what we love, and there is always a way forward. We problem solve together to find it. Leading people is how we scale our contributions to make more of an impact with the same number of hours in a day. It's an investment. It's a unique set of skills. But you don't have to be a natural-born people leader to do this well. These are skills that can be learned and mastered. If either of these pillars feels like your Achilles heel, now is the time to dig in. Without these ingredients, more success will remain out of reach. This process is a delight, not a grind. What feels the worst is not mastering these and trying to just get by, grappling with bell curves, delivering tough news, struggling to get your best performer promoted, not knowing where to take your business next, not having the time to set the strategy or even set yourself and your team up for success. That's what's tough, continuing that routine. But investing in your skills here and growing them week after week, that feels energizing and like a great relief. Here are some wins from my clients to illustrate where these pillars take us. One client had a team with significant turnover, a business that refused prioritization, a bureaucratic annual planning process that was a time suck, with routine public lashings for all involved. When his boss exited, he knew it was time to drive his business. We carved out headspace to set the strategy, to shift their participation in annual planning, to gracefully force the trade-off decisions, and to invest in his team to retain the best talent. It would have been easier to just keep trucking along, trying to keep head above water. Instead, he took a step back and transformed his role and his team as the elevated leader. In another client situation, he felt like his team and business were being run by a bad actor a few levels up. Bad behaviors on broad calls and constant distraction by arbitrary administrative requests were keeping him from the parts of the job that he loved and tainting his view on the company overall. He doubled down in his functions objective, driving wins, impacting the bottom line, and started setting boundaries to protect their highest ROI work. With excellent results like that, the time-wasting activities were forced to a lower priority, but there were no complaints because his team was writing their own ticket. Lastly, there was the client with a team of unique skill sets whose roles had been shrunk to their core competencies. This left my client and his managers of managers stepping in to fill the gaps, overworking and burning out. We redrew the scope of his team's roles and clarified expectations for team members to grow into the roles that were needed, or to move out to ones that were a better fit. Quickly, the organization started humming again. Team members felt stretched, trusted, and engaged. Those who weren't up for the challenge self-selected out to other roles, and the manager started managing again, rather than pinch hitting. These are 3 real-life examples of how leading the business and our teams can up-level our experience of work and the excellence of our results, even in a short amount of time. If this sounds like coaching that would help you, there is one next step to take. Book your work-life audit before December 18th and leave with your plan for more excellence, ease, earnings, and enjoyment in your work. When you sign as a coaching client this month, you will receive the performance review analysis as a free bonus to maximize your rewards over these next few weeks. I look forward to seeing you inside your work-life audit. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.